Usually you would have an agent, and an agent does, first of all, when a production is announced that it's going to be done, they send out to all the big agents in the city what they call a breakdown. And the breakdown lists all the major and minor characters and what they're looking for. If they're looking for some physical characteristics that are specific, if they want somebody that's 5 feet or 6 feet, or they've got those kinds of requirements. And then they'll say if they're casting for, say, Sweeney Todd, they'll say that for the role of Sweeney they're looking for a bass baritone because he has to sing low and then he has to sing high. Although tenors can sing it if they know how to do that. If they're looking for a Joanna, that's a high soprano. If they're looking for an Antony, Antony is a high baritone tenor sort. Joanna is in her late teens. Antony is maybe 21. So all these things go out. And then agents make submissions to the casting office that originated these requirements. And then auditions are set up. And usually they're within 10-minute slots. And you arrive as the actor, and you should always have a picture and resume in your portfolio. And some places like it if you sing a piece from the show. If they don't want something from the show, very often they'll say, sing something in the style of, but not from the show. And I think it's always best to go fully vocalized and have your water and make sure you go well-dressed, because they're always going to remember you. And I think, you know, people are sitting at a table and it's a sign of respect. Ripped jeans and flip-flops are not really what you do to go in and audition for a Broadway show or a road show or even a summer stock show. You want to go and you want to present yourself well as though you want to be a member of the company. And then, you know your music really, really very well and be able to know it so well that you can give it to any accompanist, and don't fall apart if the accompanist isn't the best. And if you're lucky enough to get an accompanist who's wonderful, and there are many wonderful accompanists in New York, sing well, and then you hope for the best, because then there's another process that goes on that you have absolutely no control over. You could walk into the room and someone could look at you and go, she's too tall. And you can't change that, because you may be too tall for the gentleman that you may have to partner. So if the gentleman is 5'10", and you're like 5'9", which is kind of tall for a lady, but there are some gals that are tall, they're not going to even really consider you because they've got a requirement. You always want to be interesting. You always want to lead with your imagination, because very often you may come in for one role and they may see something in you that may prompt them to think of you in another role. Always be flexible. Always come in with a smile on your face. And when they cut you off, as they usually do, smile and say thank you very much. Don't engage them in conversation, and whatever you do, don't be offended if somebody is eating an egg salad sandwich while you're singing, because very often they start at 10 and go to 6, and sometimes they don't even take a lunch break. It's very disconcerting to have to sing to that, or if someone has their head down looking at your resume. But they know how they work. So just go in and take your 3 minutes or 5 minutes to do the best work that you can do. It's your chance to show them your best 3 minutes. So go in and have fun. It's not about how well you sing, although you always want to sing well. It's about how well you do in relationship to yourself. And then that will be the success. If you get the job, that's gravy. Because, like I said, you have no control over what gets you the job or what doesn't. Well, we just cast the apple tree here, and seeing the fact that I have my hands on most of the 180 voice students we have in this program, I basically know what they're going to sound like. So other than the new graduate students who are very new, usually I knew what I was going to hear. So then what I was looking for was somebody to be fun, somebody to be imaginative, someone who would have a good sense of humor, someone who I would be willing to spend hours with in the way of helping them learn, in the way of supporting them as the music director, and feeling that they were bright enough to catch on quickly, and they would be people I would want to spend my time with. Now, mind you, some people are a little shy and they're a little reticent, so part of my job is pulling that out. That's great, but I think what you look for when you cast something is how quickly do you think you can coax that out of them. But then again, remember, these are 180 people who came here to want to be performers. So that's usually not the problem so much. It's looking to see, does the quirk of the student match the quirk of the character? And seeing if you can make a good fit. And then, of course, if you like a specific young lady, like one of the shows is The Diary of Adam and Eve, written by Mark Twain. And it's only a 2-character piece. So we may love somebody for Eve, but if she doesn't really work with any of the Adams, sometimes we have to make a change. We had one gal who came in for one of the shows who was wonderful as a singer, but didn't necessarily fit the other characteristics of the role. So then it made it that even if we had cast her for the voice, it wouldn't be believable. And, you know, in the operatic world, in the old days, it didn't matter if you were a very, very big gal or a very, very big guy playing someone dying of consumption, because it was all about the voice. Nowadays, everything is about type and look. So if you don't suggest the character, you're not really in the running, because it's all about that. It's unfortunate that we live in a society that tells us the thinner the better, and we have young people that are kind of doing a lot of damage to themselves just to be thinner and thinner and thinner so that they can fit into something. And again, I think you need to be really comfortable with who you are. And as you get older, you find out who you are. So what we try to do is help them discover who they are and not put them in a position where they're going to be asked to do something or suggest a character that isn't really who they are.